This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
So that leads me to my question of, did you personally know of any, like you mentioned the guy who gave you the heads up with the Florida game.
Yeah.
Did you personally know of any rigged situations or slightly more favorable situations? Like, did you have insider info for?
It's a good question. So, no. But I don't know if you guys familiar with Tim Donaghy, the ref.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you guys
NBA
watched the
ref.
documentary?
Absolutely.
Did you watch the documentary?
5 times.
Yeah,
Bro, he was doing some shit like,
But
because I feel like it. Like, yeah.
So he was
It was like, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah,
Type of shit.
got connected with some guys, and he basically started like rigging stuff to on these guys' favor and getting a piece of the profit.
Kickback.
But he, in this case, he knew all the refs, and these refs maybe didn't like Allen Iverson. If you remember, like,
I remember that one specific. They wouldn't call.
I don't know if you remember Iverson. He would palm around the ball.
So there's two.
Like, dude, we're gonna call palming.
Every time you
touch the ball, they call the carry.
But then there was a reverse where he was getting hacked and they wouldn't call anything, like blatantly, like, and they wouldn't call it.
And he went up to his, how long is this going to go on for?
Yeah, well, he also talked about
type shit because he knew what it was.
Yeah.
Like,
Kings Lakers,
he calling everything on me, like,
they
for a
said that was
reason.
the worst officiated game in the history of
No,
basketball.
yeah, that was
Sacramento was supposed to win.
We were actually talking about that this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there was Game 6 because they wanted the Lakers to go to the finals.
Specifically,
Game 6 in
they
Sacramento,
needed them in there.
And they said on this documentary that I've heard this before, but people say it was the worst officiated game in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
But the NBA was probably greasing palms and like, hey,
of course,
Chris Webber goes to the ground, just say you forgot.
That was my favorite series of all time.
Those are some of the
And
best
to find out it's
matchups,
rigged like now is
well,
breaks my
yeah,
heart.
but
Breaks
no.
my
So to
heart.
answer your question, no. But like I watched that documentary, I was so interested in that. You should watch it. It's so interesting.
It's fire.
It's so interesting to see him talk about like what went into rigging these games.
He did his jail time. Like, he got locked up.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
You can find it on the site. I think it's still on Netflix. Still, yeah, it's on the site. Yeah.
Oh, it's
he did jail time behind it. He got booted. Yeah.
It was as simple as like petty shit. Like the ref didn't like the coach or the owner, so he was like, "Oh, fuck these guys. There's no way they're winning this game," and he knew it.
It's crazy that on those stakes, okay, like in a high school football game, right? You can pull out a certain player, but the team is still going to be dominant. Mm-hmm. You make a call, you change the whole game.
And it was before replay too.
Like,
so it was before replay.
Like imagine how many football games we've seen where it's like that inch that you're short on 4th and inches.
Could have been.
That's a first down, bro.
Or,
you know what I mean? Like, imagine how that changes the game.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yep.
Now, to piggyback off that, what happens in the betting world when, in the golf thing that was immediate.
Yeah.
Now, when it's something like days, months, weeks later, and that something is like discovered like this, like the
Astros cheating. Yeah.
Game.
Did we touch on that?
You asked. That was your initial question.
That was okay. Yeah.
So, what happens to these bets at that point where it's like,
no, they don't do anything. In that case, they don't do anything. It's just because it didn't change the outlook. It didn't change the final result.
Now, let's say the Olympics when medals.
Good question. That's a good question. I honestly don't.
Do you bet or have a spread on the Olympics when it's time?
They'll do like the Usain Bolt and the races, and they'll do the swimming, and they'll do honestly, you could probably bet everything.
Do
I personally don't.
Do your customers partake in that?
Not as much. I think the World Cup's coming up, for example, right? That's going to be a very hot time. Because I don't like soccer, but I always watch the World Cup, the U.S. games. I think people are always pulling into that. There's going to be a lot of action on those U.S.
world.
games.
That's we're the best soccer team in the world. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of action on that. That starts at the end of November. Because it's in the Middle East. It's in Qatar. So it's in this. Yeah. So.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.